Hey, what's going on? My name is Marquise Boyce, and I want to welcome you to this page. This is the grand unveiling of my new book, Automate Your Hustle, 6 Unique Ways to Get Your Time Back and Grow Your Income, Impact, and Influence. Because time is the most important thing we have. Not just as business owner, but just people in general, right? And so what separates somebody who's struggling with their business versus someone who's actually successful with their business? Well, it's really about how they actually are managing their time. So this book is going to show you 6 unique ways that you can actually start managing the time back in your business using things like software tools, automation, and documentation. Because this book, while it is going to be 6 unique ways to actually get your time back, it's following a 3-step process. And that 3-step process is going to be what's going to release the shackles from you that's kind of keeping you tied down to your business. So if you've been feeling overwhelmed, you've been feeling burned out, this is the page for you, right? And that 3-step process firstly starts with documentation, because documentation is ultimately the thing that can set you free as a business owner. Let's think about it. How many times on a daily basis are you constantly always maybe answering the same questions from your customers, your clients, maybe even your team members? How do I do this? What's the expectation for that? Well, first we document things into the business, because once we have documentation in the business, now it gives us the foundation to actually start scaling up the business without being burned out. Because usually what happens is a business owner is a visionary and they have all these great ideas, but they're trying to do all these great ideas by themselves. And so what got their business successful isn't going to get them to the next level. Because that hustle, that 24/7 mindset of hustle is really what's going to give a lot of us heart attacks before we're ready for them. Because that burnout is one of those things to where it kind of creeps up on you. And one of those days you just wake up in the middle of the night and probably can't even get up to go to work the next day or to run your business the next day, because you're just so burned out from just so many things going on that you're trying to capitalize on. You just never really have the time for it. So that's why you start with documentation, because now once you start documenting things, you start getting these things out of your head, you're brain dumping, you're having a lot more clarity, and then that allows you to get to the second step. Is really you want to start automating the things that you can in your business, right? There's tools out here to where it's almost like you have a personal assistant working for you when you use things like maybe like email marketing, to where, hey, someone joins my email list, I'm automatically getting a response. But it's not coming from me, it's actually coming from my email marketing software. So that's why we want to start automating the things that we can in the business, because now we're able to actually start doing more things that we want, and we're not tied down having to do all these manual tasks on a day-to-day basis. So think about it. Also, how many times do you probably have to maybe book a client call or a consultation with a particular client, and you're just doing back and forth, hey, I'm free at this time, hey, I'm free at that time. What if you didn't have to do that? There's ways to where you can automate that entire process, to where you can just give somebody like a scheduler link, and it's pre-programmed with your calendar, and then they go and they look at your availability, and they already know what their availability is, so they book a time, and then when they book a time, you get a message, they get a message, and all this just kind of happens without your knowledge. You don't have to have any part of it, and that's why automation is that second thing that's really part of the process that's going to help your business grow without burnout or struggling 24/7. And the third thing, we want to outsource the things that we can't automate. You can't really automate everything in the business, so like I mentioned before, there's things with email marketing that you can set up to be able to automate that process. But there's certain tasks that you just may not necessarily be able to automate. It could be something like, a very specific quoting process that you need to do with each individual person. But are you the only person that can do that? Well, you probably thought that, or maybe you tried to have somebody else do it before and they messed it up. So now you're like, man, nobody can never do things as good as I can. Well, that always goes back to why I said we started first with documentation, because we create the right documentation, the right steps for people to follow. Now, when we actually start delegating things and outsourcing things to people, they actually have instructions. It's almost like we have effectively cloned ourselves, right? They have the step-by-step documentation that they can actually follow. So that's why you want to definitely make sure you document before you actually try to outsource, because usually it's going to be a recipe for disaster. But when you do document first, automate second, and then outsource and delegate the things that you can't do yourself, Now you have a recipe for more time or freedom into your business. Now a lot of things that you were probably having to cancel or you just couldn't do, especially if it's personal life stuff, it's one thing, when there's certain business things we can't do, it really affects us. But when it's the personal life and you have to tell maybe your family, no, I can't do this or I can't do that. Now you have this framework that you can follow to your business is going to be able to run a little bit more effectively, a little bit more efficiently without you. And you're not always in this burnout, hustle of doom, grind 24/7 mode. So like I said, I'm very glad that you came onto this page. Hopefully you check out a copy of Automate Your Hustle. With this, like I said, it's a complete no-brainer. For only $5, you're gonna be able to get the electronic copy of the book, along with some really cool bonuses that's gonna help you actually implement a lot of the stuff you learn in the book a little bit faster. So if you have any questions, there's always gonna be a support email on the page where you can message me directly. But if nothing else, make sure you click the button below, get your copy of Automate Your Hustle, and then start implementing your steps in your business so we can get back that time freedom and grow our business without hustling 24/7.